You're listening to CFRN, the Christian Financial Radio Network.
Good afternoon, traders, and welcome back to the CFRN E-mini Futures Cast. This is the daily broadcast of Indeterminate Length, where we discuss all things E-mini, along with some really big ideas on the finer points of trading gold, bonds, crude, sugar, the euro. Joining us today, Mr. Michael Borth. From our trading desk in Chicago, Mr. Burton Schlichter. Now, to get things started, let's go to our host and founder in Studio A, overlooking South Mountain, America's largest city park. Here's Dwayne.
Good afternoon. Welcome back. Today is Thursday, 12th day of February, 2026. Thanks for joining us. Whoever you are, wherever you are, we're just glad to have you right here, right now. We do 2 live broadcasts every trading day. Now, the first broadcast, that's our live training room. So that one is reserved for members only and those who are taking their 1-week free trial. If you have not yet taken your 1-week free trial, stick around till Michael joins us at the top of the hour. He'll walk you through step by step how to get signed up for the trial. We'll get your indicators up and indicating today. Your trial will officially start tomorrow and will run all the way through next Thursday afternoon. You get 5 consecutive trading days, and the weekends do not count against you. And there's no credit card required. We want you focused on what's being taught so that at the end of the trial, you can make a well-informed, intelligent decision as to whether or not trading is right for you. Now, when you take the trial, yes, you do get access to the live training room 2 hours a day, but you also get access to everything else we do the other 22 hours of the day. You see, we go to work Sunday night at 6 p.m. Eastern when the market's open, and we work around the clock till Friday afternoon at 5 p.m. Eastern when the market's closed for the week. Which brings up a point. Monday's a holiday, President's Day. Used to be called Washington's birthday, and then they changed it. But anyway, it is a market holiday. So based on the fact that Monday's a holiday, your trial will actually run all the way through next Friday. So no better time than to sign up for the trial. Again, no credit card required. You get access to everything. We treat you like you are already a member. Stick around, top of the hour, when Michael joins us to give us a recap of what happened in the live training room this morning and to do a little live trading. He will go over a couple times the simple steps to take the trial. Now, when the live training room ends each day at 11:30 a.m. Eastern, we take a 30-minute break and then come back for this broadcast, the noon broadcast, which, unlike the morning broadcast, is open to the public. That's everybody everywhere on planet Earth with an internet-connected device. There's 2 different ways to join this afternoon broadcast live. The best way, you only have to do it once. Go to mytradingiq.com. Scroll down the page to where it says noon broadcast. Click the link, fill out the 30-second registration form, and you're done. What will happen going forward is every trading day, you'll get an email about an hour before the broadcast starts. In that email, there will be a link. So at 12 noon Eastern, all you have to do is click the link in the email, and it automatically logs you into our platform. The benefit of doing it that way is you immediately have access to the question box, so you can ask questions and participate in the discussion. Now, there will be days when you're out of the office, away from your desktop, but you still want to join live. And some days you'll just be busy. So you can't join live, but you want to get caught up later. You can do both of those via our YouTube channel, which is easy to remember. youtube.com/CFRN. That's the Christian Financial Radio Network since 2005. Not only do we broadcast live every trading day on our YouTube channel, as we're doing right now, simulcasting, but we also archive each and every daily broadcast. Currently, there's over 2,900 daily episodes archived for your educational and viewing pleasure. And if you're new to our neck of the woods, it's a great way to get to know who we really are. Thanks to the power of YouTube, you can scroll back 6 days, 6 weeks, 6 months, 6 years, even more. Now, obviously, you're not going to watch them all, and you don't need to watch them all. But it's a great resource to have at your fingertips because it allows you to see how we've evolved over all these years, day by day by day. youtube.com/CFRN. On the left side of the screen here is our schedule for each afternoon broadcast. I've already mentioned at the top of the hour, 1 p.m. Eastern, Michael will join us for a recap of everything that happened this morning in the live training room, and then a little live trading as time and the markets permit. But we'll start right now where we always do, and that's with our daily devotional. Topic that we're on right now: you are more than you've been told. Our scripture today is John 15, verses 4 through 11, and I'm going to share it from the NIV translation. Remain in me as I also remain in you. No branch can bear fruit by itself. It must remain in the vine. Neither can you bear fruit unless you remain in me. I am the vine, you are the branches. If you remain in me, and I in you, you will bear much fruit. Apart from me, you can do nothing. If you do not remain in me, you are like a branch that is thrown away and withers. Such branches are picked up, thrown into a fire, and burned. If you remain in me, and my words remain in you, ask whatever you wish, and it will be done for you. This is to my Father's glory that you bear much fruit, showing yourselves to be my disciples. As the Father has loved me, so have I loved you. Now, remain in my love. If you keep my commands, you will remain in my love, just as I have kept my Father's command and remain in his love. I have told you this, so that my joy may be in you, and that your joy may be complete. Now, if you have a red letter edition of the Bible, what I just shared with you, those were words spoken by Jesus himself. Today we'll talk about a trellis life. A phone call with a friend changed my life. I wondered, how do we literally reconnect with God? How do we practically depend on His power? I was in the midst of that weary season and needed a practical answer. Growing up, I heard it said that the way to live your life with the power of God moving in you was to abide in Christ. It comes from John 15, where Jesus says, I am the vine, and you are the branches. You abide in me, and I in you, you will bear great fruit. Without me, you will accomplish nothing. Simple enough, right? Except for me, abide in Christ, slowly became a spiritual and delightful but empty phrase. I did not understand how to do it practically, so I often dismissed it. But Jesus said this was the key to the breakthrough that we all want and the life that we all long for. So there must be a practical way to do it. I called my friends who had spent years studying vineyards, soil, growth patterns, weather systems all over the world. I wanted to know how branches stayed connected to vines in storms, through intense weather, and if there was anything else they could teach me about the relationship between the two. I was told technically, yes, branches just need to be connected to the vine to live. But they really need a trellis. They need a structure to help them stay connected to the vine, hold them up, and grow and flourish to their full potential. They explained to me how a trellis is a wooden or metal structure or framework that is mainly used as a support for fruit trees or plants. It made sense. Then I asked, wait, without a trellis, can the branches still live if they are only connected to the vine? The answer was yes. All that the branches need to survive is to be connected to the vine. However, though the branches can still live without a structure, without it, they will constantly be weighed down. They will be carrying weight they weren't meant to carry. And they'll be fighting an uphill battle they don't have to fight. Wow, what an eye-opening experience. Is anyone else feeling weighed down today? Perhaps you want breakthrough, healing, and a flourishing life, but you feel weighed down from the expectations of others, weighed down from the demands at both home and work, weighed down from your feelings of failure, weighed down with fear of the future and the uncertainty of what's to come. Is it possible that you and I are carrying weights we were never meant to carry? It is possible you and I are fighting an uphill battle we don't have to fight. The trellis, the structure, helps carry the weight so the branches can stay connected to the source. If branches carry too much on their own, they will eventually break apart and break off from the vine. Jesus is the source of life. A structure helps us stay connected to our source. Simply put, the structure helps us to abide. Breakthrough is possible. How? Through full dependence on God. How? Through abiding in Christ. How? Through choosing and committing to a structure of habits that keep us connected to Jesus. What we're talking about is a practical, personal, tangible plan to live the lives we were created to live. We are talking about a trellis, a structure of spiritual disciplines to help us live lighter and freer and truly connect with God. This will look like implementing rhythms in our daily, weekly, and monthly schedules. And we're going to take these rhythms from Jesus himself. First, a word of caution and a truth that cannot be overstressed. Spiritual habits and practices are not what save you and are not what give you life. These practices are not the point. They are all a means to an end. The goal is to be close to Jesus. The point is to be connected to Jesus. The practices only serve the purpose of abiding in Jesus. There is no power in the structure. There is only power in the source. The structure's only function is to help you stay connected to the source, Jesus himself. Reconnecting with Jesus Christ, our Savior. Knowing Jesus for real. Having a personal relationship. That, dear friend, is the whole point. Let's pray. Jesus, I want you to know for real. I have felt disconnected from you and from myself. I can see the places in my life where I have felt weighed down. And I need a new structure. Help me see the practical ways to reconnect. Help me build out a new structure and begin a new rhythm to connect with you in a fresh way. I'm ready. We're all ready. It's in your name we believe and pray. And everybody said, amen. Amen, and happy Bloody Thursday. All right, let's take a look at the numbers from around the world. Okay, this won't be pretty. If you haven't looked at the charts this morning, you might want to sit down. We talked about it in the live training room. We could see it coming, and finally I said in the live training room, here it is, and then, well, there it was. But that's how markets work. We've been waiting on this for a while. It's here. So starting here in the US with the cash markets, or the indices as they're called. The Dow's down 582 points, almost 1.25%. NASDAQ is down 373, over 1.5%. S&P 500 is down 81, almost 1.25%. And the Russell 2000, which I mentioned yesterday, had me very concerned, is down 55 points. That's over 2%. In the commodity basket, crude oil down $1.87, trading 62.76 last. It's a drop of almost 3%. Gold down $121.90, trading 49.77 last. That's a drop of over 2.25%. Silver down $7.24, trading 76.68 last. That's a drop of over 8.5%. The Asian markets at the close. The Nikkei dropped 10 points. The Shanghai gained 2. The Hang Seng fell 233, almost 1%. In the European markets at the close, FTSE down 69, the DAX down 3, the CAC up 27. So we had a mixed day in Asia. It was a mixed day for the UK. And it's a big red radio Thursday here in the US of A. Let's take a look at some of the headlines out there. Officials are offering conflicting explanations for an abrupt airspace closure around El Paso International Airport in Texas late Tuesday into yesterday morning. The Trump administration cited a Mexican cartel drone incursion, while sources told major media outlets the ground stop was tied to U.S. military tests of counter-drone technology. The ground stop, initially announced as a 10-day shutdown for special security reasons, halted or diverted all flights, including medical evacuations. Local officials in El Paso, a nearly 700,000 person city on Texas's U.S.-Mexico border, received no advance notice, sparking confusion. The order called for the longest full grounding in the U.S. since 9/11. The ground stop was lifted after the U.S. military reportedly disabled the drones. As of this writing, officials have not disclosed how many drones were involved or how they were disabled. Last year, a Homeland Security official told lawmakers cartels use drones almost daily to surveil the border and transport drugs, with over 1,200 pounds seized in the second half of 2024. And not only can they carry drugs, they can carry weapons of mass destruction as well. Now, some of you will remember a TV show, Dawson's Creek. James Vanderbeek, that was Dawson. He passed yesterday at age 48 after a battle with colon cancer. The early aughts, early 2000, James Vanderbeek was best known for his role as the titular character in the hit show Dawson's Creek. I'm sure some of you watched it and some of you was like, oh, that's not for me. That's like some kind of teen soap opera. You know, it's on Netflix now. You can still watch it, make up your own mind. Born in 1977, Vanderbeek notched a series of stage and on-screen roles in his late teens, including appearances on Nickelodeon's Clarissa Explains It All and the CBS soap opera As the World Turns. In 1998, he debuted as 15-year-old Dawson Leary in the WB drama Dawson's Creek. The show, set in the fictional town of Cape Side, Massachusetts, was an instant success. The first episode drew 6.8 million viewers, the highest ratings in the network's history. Vanderbeek regularly graced magazine covers and was often labeled a teen heartthrob. He also appeared in films including Varsity Blues, The Rules of Attraction. He was cast in Amazon Prime's Legally Blonde prequel, which was called Elle. I got to tell you, I enjoyed the show very much. So, I was a much younger man at that point, but nonetheless, I liked it. His teenage heartthrob was Joy Potter. I'll let you Google and see who she is, and what she's been up to, and who she married, and his buddy, his best friend, part of the love triangle, Pacey. See what he's been up to. They're both still around. A little older, but still around. U.S. stocks turned sharply lower today as investors revived a rotation out of mega-cap tech stocks as they looked ahead to Friday's inflation reading to guide rate cut bets, already dampened by a strong January jobs report. Now just think about the wording of that. The markets were dampened by a strong January jobs report. You see, this is why Thomas Jefferson said we should never have a Federal Reserve. He said, if you wanted to, Thomas Jefferson, back in the day, the original TJ, yeah, he said, if you want to destroy America, create a central bank. It'll do it. And it's doing it. Here we have strong jobs reports, and it's bad for the market because Jerome Powell will be afraid to cut rates once again. Just based on the numbers. Take out the politics, take out the grudge match and the opinions. Interest rates should be at least 2 points lower than where they are now. But I guess you already know that. The mixed picture comes as investors scrutinize incoming earnings very closely for clues to the sectors vulnerable to AI disruption, which spurred the recent meltdown in software stocks. Cisco Systems fell over 11% as its gloomy profit outlook overshadowed a rise in sales amid big tech's AI build-out. Big tech stocks followed suit. Nvidia and Microsoft both fell over 1%, while Meta, Amazon, and Apple saw even steeper losses. Attention is starting to turn to tomorrow's Consumer Price Index report. A softer reading will build hopes that price pressures are easing while economic growth remains intact. Before then, the weekly reading on jobless claims, which showed a smaller decline than expected, came in focus after non-farm payrolls data showed the U.S. economy added twice as many jobs as anticipated. Twice as many. And the markets crumble. Does it make any sense whatsoever? No. That's why you got to trade what's in front of you. And be aware of the bigger picture. A resilient labor market paired with sticky inflation is seen as reducing the likelihood of near-term interest rate cuts, a key driver of recent equity gains. Hawley and Richard Blumenthal introduced the first bipartisan bill in Congress designed to prevent data center power usage from affecting consumers' electric bills. A week earlier, on February 6th, New York became at least the sixth state to have its legislators propose a bill to pause data center construction within state lines. This legislation would effectively shut out New York as a potential site for new data centers if it passes. In doing so, New York's legislators joined federal, state, congressional leaders across the country in attempting to legislate an industry that has boomed and threatens an already overtaxed power grid. McDonald's in the news, up 2.5% today. It's the mighty Big Mac versus the new GLP-1 weight loss pills. And McDonald's CEO is putting on his fry hat and gearing up for battle. His weapons of choice this year include chicken sandwiches and likely soon chicken tenders. We don't yet see evidence of GLP-1 drugs really having a material impact on our business, the CEO told analysts on an earnings call late yesterday. He did acknowledge that the new pill form of the medication is seeing strong adoption, and that's factoring into what McDonald's is testing. It's pretty simple. They're just going to take some version of this medication, and they're going to put it in their burgers. Business will be booming. Check with your financial advisor. Maybe it's time to buy McDonald's. As adoption grows, we know that consumer behavior changes, according to the CEO. We know that in general, they eat fewer calories in the day, but also what they eat. The mix of that changes. Fortunately for us, protein is one of the areas that GLP-1 consumer is still very much interested in. And we've got a great protein offering on our menu. So I think that's an area of strength for us. The Wegovy GLP-1 pill by Novo Nordisk, approved by regulators last December, arrived at pharmacies nationwide in early January of this year. One from rival Eli Lilly is widely expected to arrive on the market soon. Both pills and a push by the Trump administration to bring down weight loss drug prices are expected to vastly improve the uptake of GLP-1s as people no longer have to take the shots. The easier-to-use form factor has investors on high alert for how the new pills will impact big food players like McDonald's and PepsiCo. Coming soon to a burger near you. Imagine the commercials. The more burgers you eat, the more Big Macs you eat, the more weight you lose. Huh. Who'd have thought? From Reuters, the number of Americans filing new applications for unemployment benefits decreased by less than expected last week, likely as disruptions from winter storms lingered. Initial claims for state unemployment benefits dropped 5,000 to a seasonally adjusted 227,000 for the week ended February 7th. According to the Labor Department, who we know always gives us good data, economists polled by Reuters had forecast 222,000 claims for the latest week. The fall reversed only a fraction of the prior week's jump, which had been blamed on snowstorms and frigid temperatures across much of the country, as well as normalization following seasonal volatility at the end of last year and the beginning of 2026. And when did you hear last about the Panama Canal? Remember? There was a lot of talk about that early on last year. Well, it's back in the news. Hong Kong's C.K. Hutchinson Holdings warned of legal action today against a Danish logistics and ports group after the latter was tapped by Panamanian authorities to temporarily take over the operation of two critical ports at both ends of the Panama Canal from the Hong Kong conglomerate. Now, in case you don't remember, the Panama Canal, which America built, President Jimmy Carter gave it to Panama. I think he charged him $1. Maybe that's part of the story, but basically he gave it to him. Why? Well, why is Mondami doing the things he's doing? Why is Newsom doing the things he's doing? Panama's Supreme Court ruled in late January that the concession held by a subsidiary of C.K. Hutchinson to operate the two ports on the Panama Canal were unconstitutional. The subsidiary of Denmark-based AP Møller-Mærsk would be operating the ports in a transitional phase, Panamanian authorities said earlier, until a new concession can be bid and awarded. The saga surrounding the two Panama ports is part of a broader rivalry between the U.S. and China, with the Central American country caught in between. After U.S. President Donald Trump alleged last year that China is running the Panama Canal, C.K. Hutchinson was expected to sell the two ports to a consortium that includes U.S. investment firm BlackRock. But that had triggered Beijing's quick intervention, which then stalled the deal. The January ruling by Panama's Supreme Court added further uncertainties to C.K. Hutchinson's plans to sell the two ports. Last week, the Hong Kong company said that it strongly disagreed with the ruling and that it had started arbitration proceedings against Panama. If we avoid World War III, it truly will be a miracle. It will be the hand of God over this country, over this nation, over our people. There are powder kegs everywhere, just waiting for somebody to light the fuse. Republican lawmakers yesterday accused Democrats of being anti-American and wanting to disenfranchise American voters by allowing non-citizens to vote. Why would any country allow non-citizens to vote? There's no country on the planet that does, and why would they? The remarks came after Representative Henry Cuellar, Democrat from Texas, became the sole House Democrat to vote in favor of legislation that would require voters to provide proof of citizenship and voter identification before casting a ballot. Democrats have described the voter integrity legislation, the Save America Act, as voter suppression and being reminiscent of the Jim Crow era. Democrats floated similar accusations about the Save America Act's precursor, the SAVE Act. Do you know what actually disenfranchises voters? When non-citizens participate in our federal elections and counteract the votes of registered American voters. This is what we have to stop. You even need an ID to attend the events of most Democrat politicians and even the Democratic National Convention. So why would voting be any different from that? They can't answer that question. And so they come up with all these crazy excuses of why they can't support it. While Democrats in Washington are mostly in lockstep on opposing election integrity measures, think about that, opposing election integrity measures. Public polling suggests that a large majority of Americans, roughly 80%, approve the Save America Act provisions. In other words, 80% of Americans polled, both Democrat and Republican, feel like a person should have to show that they are a citizen, state ID. You can't drive a car without one. You can't buy cigarettes without one. You can't join the military without one. You can't get a can of beer without one. Something as important as an election, you should not have to prove you have the right to vote. Ridiculous. Not to mention infuriating. Now, the House has passed the Save America Act, but still got to get through the Senate. And last, there's a new conspiracy theory to add to the pile of speculation surrounding Nirvana's frontman, Kurt Cobain's death, which has officially been ruled a suicide for more than 30 years. Most of you are old enough to remember Nirvana, Smells Like Teen Spirit, and the frontman, Kurt Cobain. Authorities have long maintained that Cobain, a 27-year-old with a history of substance abuse and mental health issues, used a shotgun to kill himself at his home in Seattle on April 5th, 1994. The official version of events has long been second-guessed for a variety of reasons, such as the amount of heroin that was in Cobain's system, while other observers have claimed physical evidence at the scene supports a different narrative. Along those lines, a newly published report in the Daily Mail suggests someone else injected Cobain with a large amount of heroin, shot him, and then staged things to look like a suicide. Independent researcher Michelle Wilkins told the newspaper, after a team of forensic scientists evaluated Cobain's autopsy results and the police evidence, suicides are messy, and this was a very clean scene. The peer-reviewed paper offers several opinions, pushing back on the official explanation of Cobain's death. Among them, Cobain presumably would not have been able to operate the shotgun based on how much heroin he had in his system. The heroin kit at the death scene was found several feet away and appeared neatly organized. Cobain's alleged suicide note appears to have been finished by another hand. Death investigator Joseph Scott Morgan, host of the Body Bags podcast, considered some of the arguments while appearing Wednesday on Jesse Weber Live. You guys know I'm a big podcast fan, but these true crime podcasts, it's like they've just taken over. I mean, what are people thinking? You know, it does tell us in the Bible that we should dwell on things that are true and honest and noble and lovely and good. But America's obsessed with crime. Now, the scientists noted that although the amount of heroin in Cobain's system was beyond the dosage most people might tolerate, the musician did have a history of drug abuse. His tolerance level would be through the roof compared to somebody that was just introduced to the drug. As to whether Cobain could have operated the shotgun, Morgan said that depends on whether his motor skills would have been compromised. It's possible, too, he suggested, that the musician ingested a large amount of heroin and then used the firearm as part of a strategy of redundancy to end his life. The King County Medical Examiner's Office stands by its original ruling. We've seen nothing to date that would warrant reopening of this case and our previous determination of death. Nobody wants to admit they're wrong. Just wait till that original coroner has passed and it does get reopened. That's when we might get to the bottom of it. Cobain, of course, co-founded Nirvana in the late 1980s. The influential grunge band achieved global success within a few short years, selling tens of millions of albums, and was credited with bringing alternative rock to the mainstream. Now, this was in the late 80s. We didn't have internet and downloadable music until well into the 90s. And it didn't even really become mainstream into the early 2000s. So, an iconic group, and any life lost is one too many. I don't know if we'll ever know. I guess time will tell. All right, let's go look at it. Yeah, there it is. All right. This is where we always start, logic too far, with the daily chart of the S&P 500 E-mini futures. Now, the number in the live training room that I gave this morning, I said, guys, look for potential support at 68.70. That's when price was up here, above the 38% extension. And as we broke that, I reiterated in the room, live in real time, look for potential support at 68.70. And what do we have as a low? Come on. 68.71.75. So far. This may not be over. You see, we're just a little bit off. So you got some bottom fishers out there trying to buy the low of the day in hopes of a bounce. Now, the next major support will be here at the 24% fib extension. 68.69. The low so far, 71.75. Nothing magic about that. I mean, this writing has been on the wall now for what? I don't know, months. Those of you that tune in every day. And also, look at the last few days. Wick to the upside. Wick to the upside. Wick to the upside. That is a very bearish setup. And it just gave way today. Now, let me say this. If we take out this 24% fib extension, this line right here, then this entire area becomes vulnerable, and we could drop all the way to 67.90, and then eventually the zero line right here, this low here, and then the next spot for potential support right there and right there. True story. Okay, Logic 247, I didn't issue any alerts last night. No CTAs, no logic alerts, because I had a feeling this thing was about to bust wide open, and sometimes the best position is no position. So I put out no alerts last night. Valerie did the recap this morning at 6:30 a.m. Eastern for things that I've already issued since the markets opened this past Sunday night at 6 p.m. Eastern. We issued a total of 27 alerts. At the time she did the recap, we were still waiting on the outcome of one that gave us 26 actionable alerts, of which 4 or 15% would have been stopped out. Again, based on simple market structure and a simple process we teach all of our passport holders. Purpose of the logic alerts is to help you learn how to read a chart. If you're going to trade, you need to be able to read the chart. You got to understand what the chart's telling you. It's not chaos, but it's like learning any new language, except this language has no words, no sentences, no paragraphs, no punctuation. You learn how price flows, and you learn, with the help of the Logic 247 alerts, where to anticipate potential support, where to anticipate potential resistance, which then unveils the windows of opportunity between those 2 points. And that's where you find your best high probability, low risk trade opportunities. So that's where we are on the week. We got one more day. Now, here's the deal. This sell-off came today, just as the London market was closing. So, London, Asia will open tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern. They've not had an opportunity to react to this sell-off. And again, London closed at 11:30 a.m. Eastern today. So they really haven't had a chance to react. So, are we done dropping? I don't think so. We'll see what happens. There's going to be, when Asian markets open and European markets open, there's going to be margin calls, and that's going to cause prices to drop even further. So, will I put out any alerts tonight? I don't know. I don't know. But I will update you in the discussion group. And we do have a members-only workshop tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern. So, with that, let's go back here. And as you can see, we've dropped a little more. Okay, all of the alerts, the logic and the concierge trade alerts. Now, again, there were no CTAs last night. There were no logic alerts last night. What you were looking at was everything that had been published earlier in the week. Okay. Now, all of the alerts are created on the 30-minute chart. The vertical line separates today, Thursday, here's Wednesday, here's Tuesday. Remember yesterday I remarked about how unusual it was that we'd gone all week without touching a zone. Okay. Now, when you have a market coiling up like that, here's the gap open Sunday night. When you have a market coiling like that for days, something explosive is going to happen. And there you have it. Now, we did consolidate at this zone for a bit. But if we take out this low right here, $68, $71, $75, the next zone is down at $68.15 on the ES. These are the CTAs from yesterday, where we hit both the long target and the short target. Same here on the Dow. This is yesterday. Here's where we opened last night on the Dow. We made a run higher. This same area right here. That's where the resistance came. This is where the drop began. And this is where we are now. And it appears that we're heading lower. Now, the last bullish cross was way down here. You see this? Look at how much distance from where price is. When you have a bullish cross that leads to an extended move, the first time price revisits that area will almost always be good support. We know that. But it also serves as a bit of a magnet. Price is attracted to important prices, important areas. So, not a doomsday prophet. You know, the indices always recover over time. That's how they're built. Weak companies are taken out, strong companies are put in. They're constantly rotating. The S&P 500, the Dow, the Russell, the NQ. Weak companies get taken out, strong companies get put in. That's why the indices, the indexes, will always go higher over time. Yeah, there'll be blood in the streets like this, and there'll be incredible rallies like this. And looks like south's where we're headed on the Russell. The next zone's down at 2603.04. Now the zones are published Monday morning at 6:15 a.m. Eastern. Once they're published, they're carved in stone for the entire week. They don't change in any way whatsoever. I commented yesterday and the day before about how wide the zones were this week. It's because I expected some explosive action. I didn't know it would take till Thursday for it to happen, but here we are. And it's not over. So 2603, 2604 is the next zone on the Russell. On the NQ, as you can see yesterday, we hit the long target a couple times, hit the short target. Here's where we opened last night. We didn't quite make it to the zone. We got to this area right here. See the top of this body? Market structure. Then we get the bearish cross. Down we go. Now we've been consolidating for a couple hours at this weekly zone. 24,890/91. And then the next zone's here. Is that you, Michael?
That is me. It's me indeed.
So, as you may remember, this morning in the live training room, I was looking for support. Wait for the pop-up. There it comes. 68.70 is what I had said, and we've hit 68.125.
Yep.
Right here at the 24% fib extension. But looking at the markets individually, it's not over.
No, we're going to have a retracement at some point, but that is a very ugly look right there.
There's the Dow, the Russell.
Yeah.
The NQ.
Look at those. Every one of those. Look at the pullback on that. From back there at 0700, looks like. Pullback. Then another leg down. Pullback should go up to that weekly trading zone at 645. Then another leg down. That's just looking at your charts.
Yeah. Yep. Not a pretty picture, but hey, that's the truth about trading. So
it is. It is indeed.
Okay. I take it you're ready.
I am ready. I'm
Okay.
ready. Let me put this up on this side and that up on that side. Here we go. All right. There. All right. Let me see who is in here right now. Kyle, I will send you that link when I'm done with this. My session in here.
Okay. Charts look good.
Okay. Good. here. Let me move that out of the way and that out of the way so I can get to my downs when I need to. All right. Good afternoon, everyone. Today is Thursday, the 12th day. The 12th day of February. No, is it February? Yeah, it's February. 12th day of February. Sorry, I've been thinking March. So the stuff that's going on next month. The 12th day of February, 2026. Now, if you have not taken a free trial, let's go here to mytradingiq.com. Click on the purple button right there. It's going to be no credit card is required for this trial. Once you click on that, it will bring you. I just want this to go through a little bit more. It'll bring you to this page. Actually, I don't even have the page up. It'll bring you to this page right here. All that we ask for is your name, your email, and your phone number. Starting tomorrow, we will have a new page up here. Down here at the bottom, make sure you give us TradingView login ID. Okay, we want to make sure we get that we want to make sure we get that TradingView login ID from you. Hit the register button, and we'll be able to get your tools and able to get you into the room in the morning with us. Okay. Okay. Stuff today. We had a pretty good day today. It didn't start out very good, but it ended up okay. If you're going to read the spreadsheet, you have to read all the CFTC risk disclosures down at the bottom. Today, as I said, is the 12th day of February 2026. We're up 169 ticks on the NQ, 16 ticks on the Russell, 52 ticks on the YM, and 33 ticks on the ES. Now, at one point today, we were down on 3 out of 4 markets, but we managed to come back. So that put us at $1,597 per contract on the morning session. Today, it took 5 minutes and 5 trades to get to the goal for the day, and that's because our very first trade was a stop out on the Russell. Actually, it wasn't our very first trade, our second trade. I guess it was our first trade. Anyway, at that point, we're up $1,575 with 10 contracts, or $157.50 with 1 contract. We took a total of 36 trades today, so we went from over 90% yesterday to 77% of our trades today were break even or better. Just consistent. That's all you want to be. Not every day is going to be great, but just consistent is what you want to be. And we are consistent. I don't have this. Here, let me copy that down to here and see if that carries. It does not carry. What was the formula behind that? This right here. Copy that down to here. Oh, I get it. It's because all these are divided by 0 hours. That's why it's giving us that. Okay. Or if you delete all those, it would tell you what the averages all the way down. Yeah, that's not right either. Anyway, on the month now, we're at $10,090 over 9 business days, averaging $1,121 per contract per business day. On the year, we're at $33,115 over 27 business days, averaging $1,226 per contract per business day. Now, I want this to be over $1,200 all year long. Over $1,200. Getting this to be over $1,200 is a good goal monthly to keep that over $1,200. This was actually done below 1,000 the other day, so we're doing okay. We'll get it up there. Following the 24/20 blueprint, we are now at 2.55 hours trading this year. Now, the 24/20 blueprint means you quit trading when you get the goal for the day, and you add 1 contract per month, basically. 1 contract for every $2,000 that you earn, and since there are just about 20 business days, and if you stop trading when you get $100 per contract, that works out to $2,000 a month in profit. Now, it always works out to be more than that for me. I mean, so far this month, we're up $1,422 per contract over the 9 business days that we have. Last month, we were up $2,472 per contract over the 18 business days. And the month before that, we were up $3,020 per contract after 19 business days. So it always works out to be a little bit more per contract when I get the goal, but that's because we have, most days, we have more than the goal for the day when we get it. Right when I close out the actual trades. Anyway, a lot of words. All right, so let's see what we did do. We'll get into the trades that we did do here. Now, we had a fair amount of trades, not that many. The least amount of trades were on the ES. The most amount of trades were on the NQ. So I'll just start over here with the Russell. That was second most. If I click on that, hit Control and back. That is going to bring us... Wow, there are a lot of bars here on the Russell. A bit more. There we go. All right, all the way back here. All right, so our first trade on the Russell was here. We picked up 10 ticks on that. We picked up 10 ticks on that, and then we stopped out, and that put us at -5. That's what we had to come back from. The next trade on the Russell was right there. We went from -5 to -4. And then somewhere in there, we went from -4 to 0. And here we went from 0 to -15. I took this trade here. Now that wasn't a valid trade because it wasn't off the mid band right there, but it was pretty close. I took it anyway. I had the order waiting and went from -15 to -6. We picked up 9 ticks on that. Then here we picked up, it looks like 10 ticks. We got to 1. Then we had 18 ticks there that got us to 19. Then we had something else that got us to 30. So we had 11 ticks somewhere in here that got us to 30, and then we stopped out again, and that brought us down to 15. Then we had one more trade somewhere in there that got us to 16. So we had one trade for 1 tick in there somewhere. When things got going quickly at the end there, I kind of lost track of all the little arrows and where they should go. But there was just a trade in here just a minute ago that I did not get, and so we'll keep our eye out for the next opportunity. Russell. Okay, there should be another one coming up here. It should pull back down to the BBC, not the BBC, but the mid band. The mid band. We're oversold. It just needs to hit it. We need to down close on this bar. If we get an up close on this bar, it's going to throw it off. It just threw it off. Okay, so let's get into the YM now. On the YM, see if control is back on that guy. Again, a lot of bars. A lot of bars to deal with here. So to make it go back quick like this, for those guys who don't know, I'm holding the control button down and hitting the back arrow. Then when I get it like this, I just double left click over here on price and it centers it for me. Okay. And then we have some people out here who are relatively new to trading view. So there. All right. Our first trade on the YM was right here, and that you can see was nowhere near the midpoint. So I don't know how or why I ended up in that trade, but I did. And I got 19 ticks. Oh, that was right at the beginning. That was where we ended up getting the goal for the day. The 19 ticks there coupled with, no, the ES7 ticks is where we got it. This didn't give us the goal for the day because we were down on the Russell at the time. So this only put us to 14. But it was not anywhere near the midpoint. So I'm not exactly sure how I had, or why I had the order still on there, but I did. And I got 19 ticks on that. And then the next one that I took was here. We went from 19 to 29, then 29 to 32, then 32. Well, hang on. 19 to 29, 29 to 32, then 32 says something. And then we stopped out and went down to 17. So there's another, whatever that blue one is right there, I didn't add in. And then we stopped out and went down to 17. And then went from 17 to 36, 36 to 40. And here we went from 40 to 52. Picked up 12 ticks there. And that was it. The sky was actually falling right in there. You see. Just little retracements all the way through those little patches of green. We're going to have a big patch of green here pretty soon. This is a little bit bigger patch of green right there. That's a pretty big one right there. Eventually, we're going to have a decent sized patch of green. If I crunch this all the way up like this, see, at some point, we are going to have to retrace some of this mess right here. And we have a weekly trading zone right there in the middle of it all. So it's going to give a whole bunch of opportunity in both directions. You know, we're just worried about what's in front of us here. Looking at the big picture like that gives you an idea of what to expect. That, you know, once it starts moving up, it doesn't mean it's done moving down in the bigger picture. But all we care about is this right here. Down close on this bar right here is going to be a short, right, on the YM. So that's what we care about right now. Taking that trade and taking profit out of that trade if we can. All right. All right. Now, it hasn't closed down yet, so it's not a trade yet. This one, it still hasn't closed down. but it still could and be a trade if it does close down. Okay, I'm kind of waiting on that now. There it is. Okay, so it closed down. So it is a trade, and here it is. Okay. Now, once that goes 5 ticks into profit, it's going to bump my stop to +1, and then it just took me out with +1. Okay, so we'll come back to that in a few minutes. But for this session, we have 1 trade, 1 tick so far. Let's look at the ES now. Okay. Control and back. Okay. We went too far. Go the other way. There we are. All right, on the ES. Now, the ES is what actually put us over the top to get the gold for today. Not that one. We had a break even on that one, but this one right here, we got 7 ticks there. That's what did it. So we are at 7 there, and then we stopped out, and that put us at -3 after stopping out. Then went from -3 to +9 right there. So we had a 12-tick trade there. Then the sky collapsed, and we changed from a. No, we didn't change. Why is that not anywhere near anything? I guess the arrow was just off. It should be right there. Went from -9, and we went from +9 to +17, then 17 to 21, and then went 21 to 33 somewhere. So there's something missing in here. This might be the 17 to 21, and this is probably the 21 to 33 right there. And that is what we ended up with the ES this morning. I'll go all the way to the end and see if we have a trade here. We do not have a trade right here. Okay, that was it for the ES. So the majority of the trades were on the NQ today, as usual. And do you have any other trades triggering right now? The YM has another trade right here. The ES does not have a trade. The YM does. YM is going short, and all 3 of the other ones are in the green. So it is what it is. I took the trade on the YM. Here it is. Just bumped to +1. We're going to lock in more than 1 this time. We have 3 now, 5 now. So we have 2 trades on the YM for 6 ticks total. Everything else is in the green. The YM's the only one going down. So let's look at the NQ really quick. No such thing as really quick with the NQ. But we'll go all the way back to the beginning here. It is 113. Oops, I went too far again. There. That'll do it. So I double left click here and it centers it. Our first trade on the NQ, we stopped out -36 ticks. Got 1 tick there to get us to -35. Then here we went -35 to -25, and then we went to +25. So we had a 50 tick trade there. We had a 10 tick trade, then a 50 tick trade. And then this is what it looked like here when it started to fail right here. We stopped out right in here. Went from +25 to -11. I'm pretty sure. It doesn't look like I drew the red thing in there, but we stopped out in there. So I'll just draw that in. I remember stopping out there, and that's why I was drawing this. I was saying if we fail to go up right here, it looks like it's trying to get up to this level, and if it does get up to that level, it's 50% retracement of this, regardless of the background color. It should go down from there. If it fails, it should fail right there. And it did eventually fail. That was a red one. So after that, we were at -11. Then our next trade here, we picked up 10 to get to -1. Then we had a couple of big trades. We picked up 50 to get to 49, another 50 to get to 99, another 50 to get to 149. And then we got up to 163 in here somewhere. And then we stopped out again. We went down to 127. Then here it would have been 50, but it didn't give me 50. We went from 127 up to 160. And then we picked up 9 ticks there to get to 169. And that is where we ended it for the morning session today. Do we have any trades right now? An up close on this is going to be too low, I think. Nope, it'll be right on it, actually. An up close on this will be a long trade right here. All right, so let's wait for that to happen. Whoops. We'll see if that does happen here. It's going to be around a 39, so it's going to be 10 points above the bottom. It'd be 58. That's what you'd be looking at. No, 56. Right in that area, right here. 10 points from the bottom. Now, I think it's too far away. It is too far away. You're not going to get a trade there. Okay. So let's go back here one more time. If you're just coming in and you don't know how to take the free trial, go here to mytradingiq.com, click on that purple button right there. No credit card is required for this. Click on that purple button. It's going to bring you to the registration page. Fill this out. If you take the trial today, you get today, tomorrow, and the 4 days next week. Okay, because we're off on Monday. And that is it, right? Take the free trial and do all that. Right, I went through all this, I went through all that. So now we can just trade. Oh, I know what I gotta do. I gotta go out here and put in the 2 trades that we did. Okay, that's what I was missing. Trades 25 and 212. And it wasn't on the EQ, it was 6 on the YM. Carry this down. Copy, paste. I don't know why that's going to divide by 0. Oh, it's because this is in the wrong place. This should be a 4 and this should be a 0. That should be nothing. Okay, and so far, copy, paste, this will be a 2, this will be a 0, and the minutes are 13 again. 13 minutes, and this goes to 45. Okay, so this is where we are right now. 6 ticks on the YM, $300 a contract, 2 trades, 0 stops. So far, we have 13 minutes left to trade in here. All right, so let's get in there and do that. Does anybody have any questions about any of this stuff at this point? Remember, it's Thursday, so there is a partners meeting tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern time. We need pullbacks everywhere right now. Everywhere. What I haven't done is I haven't gone out here to see what's going on with all these things. Those of you guys that saw that thing yesterday. Apple taking a huge nosedive. Starbucks finally taking that huge nosedive. The Guild took a dive, and lumber actually went up. So 100% correct. All right, what we need here, we need that to get up here to the mid-band. It needs to flatten out up here in the overbought. This one just needs to have an up close. All right, this one needs to flatten out in the overbought too to get up to the mid-band. This one's gonna have an up close to get us into the overbought, and then another one to hit the mid-band. All right, so the YM is at it, and it needs a down close now. Just take a picture of this. Oops. That is not going to show what I want it to. Take a picture of this. There we go. All right. So this off of the mid-band right there. It didn't actually hit the mid-band, I don't think. Did it? I guess I could have taken that. But I just got distracted there. I could have had a trade there and I could have had a trade there, but I didn't get either one. That needs to get down to the oversold. That needs to get into the oversold. That needs to get into the oversold. And that needs to get into the oversold. Okay, and Starbucks, Lumber, and Guild. G-I-L-D. Michael. That came up. That was, I was talking with Jason last night. Remember in that thing I had said, we have a guy whose wife has a whole bunch of Exxon stock. Well, Jason's wife has a whole bunch of Guild stock. And so he asked me about it in a meeting we had yesterday afternoon. And I looked at it and it had The exact same scenario that I was looking for in all the other ones. It was set up perfectly for it. And it was on a tear. It had been on a complete tear. So nobody would have been thinking to sell that or to buy puts on that. Okay, the NQ's got a short rate. Actually, it doesn't. It doesn't. Sorry, it's not a valid trade. I thought it was. It's not. Neither is ES. This didn't go full cycle. Nothing has a trade here right at the moment. Did you go to the thing yesterday afternoon, Michael? Okay. That's basically about options. You know, I went and looked at everything over here. And out of all the things over there, lumber way down here at the bottom was the only index that was ready to change, to have a reversal. And those other three stocks were already at a reversal. Oops. The thing. All right. This is not a trade here because we didn't go full cycle. We're not in the oversold. It's not a trade here because the background color is red. It's not a trade here because it's just not going to be a trade. The closest thing we have is a down close if it goes straight down on the Russell right now. It's going to go straight down. If it goes up any, it's not going to be a trade. Right? If it gets up above, and it already did, no trade there. No trade there, there, or there. Everything looks like it's turning up right now. Cancel all. It was at the very end of it. And Jacob had asked me a question. And you know how I can get when people ask me a question. Go off on a tangent. Left field. But in the last 15 minutes of the meeting yesterday. So if we got into the oversold here, we would have had an opportunity right there, but we didn't. Yes, Ronnie's not in there. He'll probably be in the meeting tonight. He had questions for last week's meeting, but we didn't have last week's meeting. So I told him he could ask me anyway, and he didn't. Right, so we're in the green on these three, and now we're in the green on all four of them. We only have 6 minutes left. We've taken those couple of trades on the YM so far, and that's it. I'm hoping we'll be able to get something here pretty soon. Something to add to that.
That long on the Dow looks pretty good because you're right out of zone.
Yep, it's just about there.
And the 50% retracement line. Let's get a down
That's the
coat.
problem. Nope, it came out. That's the problem. All three of these just did the same thing. They all came out of the oversold before you're in the midpoint.
Yeah.
So no trade on any of them. The NQ could still give it to us, though. Get ready over there on the NQ. Now, it didn't hit the midpoint. It's a couple of ticks away from it. So arguably, you could take a pullback. If it pulls back down to about right here, you jump on this right now. And I just did. I think I did. No, I didn't. I didn't get filled. I thought I did, but I didn't get filled. I tried to do the drop on it, but I dropped it in the wrong place, apparently. Now it's too late to do that, right? We had our opportunity on that. Now it's gone. So we have other opportunities just about to present here on these three. Now, both of them need a down close followed by an immediate up close. Down close would put you in the oversold on every one. Then the immediate up close. This one just messed up. It had an up close to put you in the oversold. But a down close, they're all messed up now. They all gave up closes. I didn't do this, all right? I didn't do that because it wasn't off the mid band when it came out of the oversold. Now this is, if you go to the, if you go here and you look at the trade rules down here, this is the aggressive trend trade, right? That's what that just happened right there. You would have bought coming down here to the mid band when it got into the oversold. But that's not what I've been doing, right? We have enough trend that I don't have to be aggressive. I can be conservative and still get 50 trades a day. So we're waiting again. And we now have only 3 minutes left. Man. Hopefully we get another shot at something here. Okay, and up close here on the YM now would be another trade. Okay. Still an up close on the YM would be a trade. Still an up close on the YM. Now it might not be. I think it's too far away now. Nope, it's still right on it. It could still be a trade with an up close. The ES could also be a trade with an up close. Not the NQ. The NQ's got to close down. It's going to be too far away if it does. All right, so the YM ended up being nothing. That's not a trade. The Russell needs a down close followed by an up close. The ES just needs an up close. The NQ now could be something. Watch the NQ. That could turn into something now too. The way it was coming together a minute ago, it didn't look like it was going to. But we have the Russell. The ES is almost too far away now. So it's the Russell and the NQ right now. There's the NQ. Here, I got that one. It's at plus 10 right now. Plus 14. 18. 22. 22. And I didn't have the Russell ready to go over there. It's probably a good thing. I might have gotten a break even if I had the Russell ready to go. I don't know what just happened here, but 22 ticks is what we got on the NQ. 22 there, and that makes this a 3. And that is enough to have gotten the goal for the day, and pretty much the average. Actually, the average is a little higher after yesterday. All right, so something just happened to make the markets bounce around like this. I don't know what, but something. And we need pullbacks here. We only have 30 seconds left. Everything's moving so fast, it's jumping around so much. Let's look at the actual DOMs and see. That's not that bad of a spread, considering the way it looks on the charts. That's not that bad of a spread. But I fear that we won't be able to have another trade here because things are bouncing around the way they are. And we have 15 seconds left. The Russell could actually give a long trade. Nope, it's too far away. That is not a long trade. Not a valid one anyway. Now it could give a long trade. Okay, that is a valid long trade and just give me one tick. I think. I didn't have time to pull it over and show you, but I think let's see if it actually did give me one tick. And if it did, that'll be the last trade. It actually gave me 2 ticks. I'll show you. Right there. To there. So that will be our last trade. Because I do have other meetings coming up right now, and I will create and send that meeting link out to you, Kyle, here. All right, so this is how we're going to wrap it up for the morning. For the afternoon session. 22 ticks on the NQ, 2 on the Russell, 6 on the YM, 4 trades, no stop outs, 13 minutes. $1,500 with 10 contracts or 150 with one. Again, that's the goal for the day in 13 minutes. That's about what we're averaging, $154 per session and 14.74 minutes per session in the afternoon. So if you can't make it to the morning, it's afternoon sessions. Get the goal for day 2. All right, and that is that. With that, we can wrap it up and pass it back out to fabulous Phoenix, Arizona, in Studio A, overlooking South Mountain, America's largest city park. Dwayne is ready.
Okay, recap of the morning session.
Now I just have that up in front of me here. 5 minutes, 5 trades, $1,575.
Good job.
All right, thank you very much.
All right, guys, if you missed any part of today's broadcast, when I sign off, you can go to youtube.com/CFRN and watch today's broadcast in its entirety. youtube.com/CFRN. To become a member, email Valerie, support@CFRN.net. She will email you all the information you need to get signed up, become an official member with access to everything. Let's wrap it up with our good word for today. Live by the principles of God's word. Joshua 23:6 says, "Be careful to obey all the law." Entering the promised land, God told Joshua, "Be careful to obey all that is written in the book of the law of Moses." You must identify your core values and live by them. Swiss philosopher Henry Frederick Emil said this: "The man who has no inner life is a slave to his surroundings." Your core values are the governing principles you live by. They're not the light. They are the light that guides you. It gives stability and structure to your inner world. When that's in order, you can navigate your way through almost anything. Have you ever wondered why God refers to His Word as laws? Because they govern your thoughts and actions, guide you in the right direction, and guard you from trouble. They bring order to your life. Without that, you're left with chaos and confusion. Imagine living in a world where 100 centimeters doesn't equal a meter, and 2 plus 2 doesn't equal 4. God established His laws for our good. When we disobey them, we suffer. When we honor them, we succeed. Unlike dining a la carte, you can't pick what you want and forget the rest. God says in Joshua 1:8, "Do everything written, then you will be successful." Many talented people who make it into the limelight don't stay there very long. Why is that? Because they fail to develop strong character. Their lack of integrity toppled them because they couldn't climb beyond the limitations of their character. Talent may take you to a higher level of success, but without character, you won't be able to handle the pressures that accompany success. That's why it is so important to live by the principles of God's Word. And that's our good word for today. Thanks so much for tuning in. Whoever you are, wherever you are, may God continue to richly bless you with His mercy and with His grace. And I'll see you at the bell.
Remember this, there is no greater return on investment than to see a human life changed and given hope. As always, pray hard and trade safe. Any financial information discussed on this show is simply the opinion of our host, Dwayne Reeves, his co-hosts, and guests. To learn more about trading E-mini futures or to take a 1-week free trial in our live trading room, call 1-866-928-3310. 866-928-3310. Information discussed on this radio program should not be construed as a recommendation to buy or sell any security. Always do your own due diligence and consult with a licensed securities broker or financial planner before making any investment decision.